His game is so layered, and that's the great thing. It's a little Magic Johnson, that Magic did so many things well. He could shoot, he could pass, he could rebound, he initiated the offense, the catalyst. Jokic, similarly, even a player as great as Steph or Luka, if they don't shoot well, they don't feel the same. They don't have the same impact. Jokic does so many things well. What's his bad game? When's the last time he had one? And what's interesting, I find interesting and really cool about the NBA right now, that Giannis, Jokic, and Luka are the three best players in the league, and they're all foreign-born. And here comes Victor Wembanyama. Foreign-born players, in my opinion, are more mature. Jokic, Luka were playing against men when they were 15, 16 years old. They're not on IG waving around guns. They come into this league having played against men, and they're very mature. They're also very focused on basketball. They're not consumed with their brand or a shoe deal. It is all about hoops. They're also, and let's be honest about this, we're all a little bit like this. I just went abroad. When I go abroad, I feel like a visitor. I'm more gracious. I'm more polite. I'm in somebody else's house or land. The players come over from overseas. They come here, and they're loyal to Milwaukee. They're loyal to Denver. Victor Wembanyama, when he got drafted, said, I can't wait to get to San Antonio. They're going to get a great team player. There's gratitude. There's skill. There's maturity. I love Jokic. You don't see foreign-born players, at least recently, that I can recall, have a trade request or get pouty if they're criticized by the media. They're not on IG. I don't even think Jokic is even on IG. He's not. He's not even on it. He doesn't care about it. And I think it's refreshing. That doesn't mean we don't have great players here, but we're also very patient with our foreign-born players often because they didn't play at Kansas. They didn't play at Duke or Carolina or UCLA, Gonzaga, Arizona, so we didn't watch them in March Madness. We don't have high expectations. So we let them quietly enter the league and slowly and deliberately work into stardom. It's really a nice path, a really nice path. And I think Jokic is a great example of it, is that he comes in mature and focused, very much about basketball. He'll never leave Denver. Given the opportunity, he's not leaving Denver. Giannis doesn't want to leave Milwaukee. And it's refreshing. That's not to say I don't love big personalities. I love Shaq and Kobe. I love Magic Johnson. But this is cool, too. That if you look at what is happening to basketball, and frankly, outside of the NFL, all of our sports, it's all becoming very, very global. And because these players, they're not in the March Madness buzzsaw. They come in second round, 10th pick, 12th pick. We don't have huge expectations. Now, Wembanyama is going to have some big expectations. But I love Jokic. I love everything about him. 30, 20, and 10. And his response to his historic performance was perfect. For the record, optics and aesthetics and style and fashion has always mattered in the NBA. And I'm good with it. I love Dr. J. I loved his flair. I loved his style. And that's okay. But this is good too. And this is about winning and basketball, not your IG. I like this too. We can have both. I think the NBA's in a great space. I think they're ascending. I wish our company would go grab some. I think what Jokic is about, it's almost a football mentality. Get me in, focus on my sport, win games, worry about the other stuff later. Good for him. So this is an interesting story. Now, from time to time, I have offered a suggestion to the Boston Celtics. I would term these as brilliant trade scenarios. That's how I view them. The blogosphere probably disagrees. But here's a story. So the Phoenix Suns like Chris Paul. They don't want to pay him. So according to multiple sources, now Woj says it's close but not done yet. Phoenix may move off Chris Paul. And I understand. I wouldn't want to pay him big money either. So immediately you hear the ridiculous Chris Paul to the Lakers stories. Oh, stop. Like they need another old, broken down, expensive guy. He's a terrible fit for the Lakers. Also, Austin Reeves can run their offense. LeBron can run their offense. They need three-point shooters. Chris Paul's a mid-range guy, an old guy, an expensive guy, a broken-down guy. He's the worst fit for the Lakers. Stop. But there is a really, really good team that makes a lot of sense, and let me throw it out to you. The Boston Celtics. Send Marcus Smart to Phoenix, Chris Paul to Boston, and here's why. Marcus Smart is exactly what Phoenix needs. Because of Kevin Durant's history of breaking down, they need a guy that's younger, plays 65, 70 games along with Booker and DeAndre Ayton. So when KD gets hurt, they've got their other three stars, Ayton, Smart, and Booker. He's also tough. He's physical. I think Phoenix could use some of that. Booker's an okay guard, not great defensively. Smart is great. Coachable. Frank Vogel, new coach, loves guys like Marcus Smart. Loves him. Physical. Not going to be a ball hog. Also, I think Phoenix needs a true point guard. They have one in Chris Paul, but he's not available. So when he's not available and KD's not available due to age and brittleness, it's a wreck. So he obviously fits. Now you say, well, why would Boston want Chris Paul? Hear me out. Who are the Celtics' two stars? Young in their prime. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They play 70 games. They play a lot of minutes. It's okay if Chris Paul plays 55 games. It's okay if he plays 30 minutes, not 40, because they've got that covered. And this team in Boston doesn't play with a lot of intention offensively. They don't have a true quarterback. Marcus Smart's a defensive guard first. Jaylen Brown's a wing. Malcolm Brogdon's a combo. Tatum's a wing. They just freewheel it. They freelance it. They have trouble getting into their offense. Here's another stat that's clear and inarguable, is that Marcus Smart leads the Celtics in assists in the regular season, but he doesn't in the postseason. They don't trust him. Jason Tatum does. You want your wing facilitating your offense? That's like what the Clippers have had for 3 years. It doesn't work. Paul George and Kawhi are great wing players. They're not facilitators. They're not quarterbacks. They're receivers. It's the same thing with Marcus Smart. He's a defensive-minded guard. Chris Paul is an offensive-minded guard who was all NBA 2 years ago. Yeah, you're only going to get 58 games from him. So what? Tatum plays 68 to 70. Brown plays 68 to 70. The Celtics draft and develop well. They've got young guys on the bench. This makes sense to me. You bring him in. Do you really want to pay Marcus Smart for the next 3 years? The Boston thing, folks, they didn't get to the finals. They've been to the finals once. It didn't work. You can just stay and keep doing the same stuff. What Phoenix needs is somebody that is there every night, and with Chris Paul and Kevin Durant both getting older and susceptible to injuries, it often leaves Devin Booker to score 45 or they lose. Smart, KD, Booker, and an improved DeAndre Ayton with Frank Vogel, who loves bigs, that's a championship team. That is a championship potential team. Meanwhile, Boston, they don't have a facilitator. They don't. And Chris Paul is. He's offensive-minded. Well, he's not much for defense. Tatum and Brown are. Robert Williams near the basket is. They got enough defense. They don't need to double down on defense. They need to double down and find a quarterback and a facilitator and somebody to get them into their offense. So the Lakers thing is nonsense. Chris Paul to the Lakers is nonsense. He's older. He's broken down. He's expensive. Anthony Davis misses games. LeBron misses games. You want your third best player playing 55 games? But Boston doesn't have that issue. Boston's two stars play every night and play big minutes every night. That makes sense. If I was Phoenix, I'd do a deal tomorrow to get Marcus Smart. And if I was Boston, I would do the same deal. Remember, Marcus Smart's never going to be all NBA. You got two of those guys, right? You got a Jaylen Brown, you got Jason Tatum. And 2 years ago, you had Chris Paul. This year that was so terrible, he was 15-9. He's still, from the mid-range, a lethal offensive weapon in big spots in the NBA. So there you go. Call it crazy. Boston, you can just sit there and be patient. All right. I saw the Bruins lose in Game 7. The Red Sox aren't doing anything. Where are you going? Got to make stuff happen. Aggressive wins. You can just keep the same hand to the table. I think you got to make a move. It's not a huge move. You're not moving Jaylen Brown. You're not moving Jason Tatum. You're not moving your wing defender. You're not moving Malcolm Brogdon. You're just moving Marcus Smart. You're going to get a better offensive player, a true offensive guard, a veteran, a smart guy who can play with Tatum and Brown, doesn't need to be the star. He's on the right side of the ball offense because that's what at times you needed. Did you watch the Celtics play against Miami? What happened? What happened to their offense in the fourth quarter? They had trouble getting into it. Won't have that problem with Chris Paul. Tell him, play 45 regular season games. Play 3 out of 4 playoff games. Just be available for a Game 6 or a Game 7. That's what ended Boston's season. A Game 6 and a Game 7. Not the regular season stuff that Chris Paul could miss. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.